All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you guys watching another round of C3 Garage Media. This episode is pretty exciting for me. This is kind of installing a piece de resistance to the car that I've wanted for a long time. Not only just for a little extra bling factor, but some improved functionality of just being able to monitor what's going on with the car, all of the systems. And honestly, just to continue to make the IS great. So today, you guys are going to be watching me install the AEM CD7 dash. But before we do that, I'd like to show you kind of some unboxing and show you how the system works. So guys, come along with me. I appreciate you watching my content. If you guys appreciate my content, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. And if I ever see you guys out at any drift events or anything out here in Colorado, come by and say hi to me. So without further ado, let's get started. C3 Garage Media. So let's go ahead and unbox the prize. For me, this is kind of a crown jewel for my car. It's something that I've always wanted and something that I think, really sets off the look of the car as well as just functionality of my AEM Infinity. So as you could tell from the video title, I did get an AEM CD7 dash. So let me give you guys the unboxing experience. So in full disclosure, I've actually already opened this and looked at it a little bit, but let me show you what your AEM CD7 is going to look like when you take it out of the box. So we have some instructions, some warnings, your wiring diagram and schematic. Again, I'm using the AEM Infinity ECU on my car, so this is pretty plug and play from my install. You can install this dash on just about any ECU using their CAN bus support. Then let's go ahead and remove this cover. Now we did get some cables in here. I've actually already put the main cable harness in the car, which I'll show you guys here in a little bit. And then here is the dash itself. It is a very quality unit. It feels to be like they mentioned, this is a carbon exterior on it. You can see it's like a carbon composite. So extremely tough, lightweight, and durable. We have our shift lights, our warning lights here on the sides, and then our toggle buttons. And these have an extremely satisfying click to them. So this is to page through the screens, and this is to mark data. Looking at the back, it does have some provisions, flexible provisions for mounts. I have the nuts off it right now, as I was just fitting some brackets to the back side of it. You have your 10-pin Deutsch connector for the back. Again, that plugs right into the AEM net cable off the Infinity. And then you have your provision for your mini USB. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open up the AEM Dash Design software. I'm going to preload one of the pre-made dashes, as I do really like one of their designs, and I'll take you guys along and show you what that looks like. I hope that lighting is okay for you guys. So I am actually using my Surface Pro 3 as my laptop for the IS. Again, look at that CD7 dash, almost the same size as the Surface Pro 3 screen. This is also the same computer that I use for the Infinity Tuner, which you can see right there. And let's go ahead and open up Dash Design. Now I've messed with the program a little bit, and it's very, very intuitive to use. All right, so this is just opening up the CD7 dash design. Now this is actually a layout that I do want to put on the actual dash. I really like this because it allows me to read boost, AFRs, oil pressure, temp. I got RPM. I can scroll through multiple different screens on there. Has some great warnings that I can set, as well as a nice splash screen there. So that's kind of that startup screen. And I can change any of these screens or edit them, or even create my own, which is super cool. But I want to kind of show you guys how this works. So let's go ahead, go to File. We're going to open a setup here. Now it does save everything in an app-specific folder under My Documents, so app-specific. So what we're going to do is go ahead and select AEM Infinity, which is what we already have up here. And this allows you to look at multiple different displays that are already built in to the AEM software. And is it extremely easy to not only change these setups or modify them to your own, but it is also extremely easy to create your own setup. If you want to create your own blank setup, you can start from a blank screen, or you can actually edit any of the dash designs that they have shown. All right, guys, so let me show you the dash design that I'm going to start with. I really like this with a nice, easy to read tack in the middle, water temp, air fuel, boost, and oil pressure. You can see that the actual dash that I have does have GPS capability, so you can monitor track times, lap times, that kind of thing with the GPS module, which I do not currently have. Very easy to set up. As you can see, if you click on a parameter, you have your input out here in the corner, which you can change any of these inputs. So obviously right now it's going to be your KPI or your boost pressure. You can change the color of your needle. You can change the color of the background or transparency of the lines. You can change any variable you want. So if you don't want this to monitor boost, a very simple click on the name, change it. You can change your color, click back on your gauge, change your input, and you're good to go. You can also unlock the layout and change just about anything that you want within the design. So if you want, you can completely redraw the whole dash. You can set alarms to any parameter you want. This has a couple factory already set up. I'm going to do oil pressure, boost pressure. I'm going to do coolant temp on there. And then you can also look at the different screens that you can toggle through. So obviously I just showed you guys the primary screen. Secondary screen, this measures volts down here. I'm going to actually have it measuring oil pressure on mine. Screen 3 here, this is more of a lap timer combined with some basic information. Or you can have something a little bit more analog. They will give you your RPM at the top and multiple different parameters to measure down below. So just a really, really cool system, and I'm so excited to mess around with this. I would like to, here very soon, I want to create some change screens as well as a new splash screen to reflect C3 Garage Media, maybe even put a cool graphic of the IS in there. So let's go ahead and let's upload this dash or this design to the dash itself. check it out. You can scroll through the different screens, which is cool. And I like it when it's monitoring oil pressure down here. So this is going to be my primary temp. And you can see we do also have a water temp display down here. So cool stuff. Let's go ahead and plug in the dash and get this uploaded. All right, guys, so in order to get the Deutsch connector through the grommet hole that I have down by my shifter, I have to remove this Deutsch connector. That way we can plug it into the back of the AEM harness. So what I've done is I've taken note of the positions of each of the wires. I've gone ahead and removed the lock in the center, which is pretty easy to do. Just grab it with some needle nose pliers. And then I'm going to reach down in here and actually relieve each of these clips with a very small screwdriver so I can pull out the connections. So you can see those came out extremely easy. You just got to lift up on those four little clips in there, and the pins pull right out of the back of the connector. Now I can go ahead and fish these into the car and put my connector back on. So just give you guys a quick look at how I'm routing this CD7 cable here. So it's coming from my ECU, which is just up above the motor there. Bringing it down underneath the subframe here. I'm going to zip tie it to the kind of power steering lines, keep it out of the way. And then up through this hole that I have that I ran my other air fuel gauge through. And then I'll go ahead and seal this up. I noticed the grommet that I had in there kind of popped out of place, so I'm going to seal that with some silicone. Got to repin this connection up inside the car and then plug in the CD7 dash, and it should just about be that easy. So love the plug and play of the AEM Infinity with this dash. So onto the top side, up here in the car, you can see I have the AEM wire extension with the pins removed coming through. So what I'm going to do is repin these in this Deutsch connector, and then I can go ahead and connect it to the CD7 dash terminal. Very, very straightforward. So let's go ahead and get this repinned. So what I've done is just preliminarily I repinned the AEM net cable, and I do have it connected to the AEM net cable coming to the back of the CD7. So I have it running through my dash down behind there. Obviously I'm going to clean everything up, and then I do have the dash plugged in. So what I'll do is turn the car over, start her up, and see if this screen kicks a display for us. Alright, so started the car, and we're working here. You can see on this particular screen, and I'm going to change this map. We have our RPM, it's obviously idling high because it's cold. Got my battery, AFR, oil pressure, and oil temp. Obviously we're not moving, so mile per hour is at 0. But yeah, it seems to be working great. Now we'll go ahead and get this thing mounted in a little bit more permanent fashion, and hell yeah, very excited. It is so refreshing to have compatible systems in the car. The AEM Infinity literally just connects with the Deutsch connector to the AEM net, just similar to as it would with any other signal, and makes it a very straightforward install. All I had to do is connect this AEM net cable, which I'm in the process of zip tying out of the way. I'm going to clean up all this mess too, just like my extension harness, and then we'll get this thing finally buttoned up. All right, guys, so let me show you sort of what I've figured out for a temporary mounting solution for this. Eventually what I'd like to do is remove the IS cluster altogether, although I love the look of the IS cluster. I may build one on the AEM CD7 to look kind of similar to it. But what I've done is on the back of the CD7, I had these brackets that I bent to fit sort of the contour up here. And then I have some Velcro down below and some Velcro up top. And believe it or not, it actually holds it very sturdily. So let me go ahead and put it in place here, show you guys what that looks like. And then put the steering wheel on, and that gives us a good display. So here is the temporary install. Again, still debating if I'm going to mount it in the actual dash mount, if you will, or if I'm going to leave it right there. I really like the visibility of where it's at. But let's crank it on and see what it looks like. Heck yeah, that display looks nice. And I'm gonna go ahead and change the display that I have on here currently, because I do want a little different look in there with some more parameters to measure. So you can see that I do have the dash connected via USB here to my Surface Pro. I am getting a nice connection to the CD7, and you can see I have my dash ready to upload. I did go through and change a couple colors that I wanted. For my main screen, wanted my boost, water temp, AFR, and oil pressure in red. I also wanted my needle to be red versus orange. So yeah, let's go ahead and upload this dash. So we will go File, Upload to Display. Let's save this as and that should now boom. So that should now be uploaded successfully. The dash does show that that went through, so let's go ahead and we'll close the setup. We'll go ahead and disconnect. Heck yes. That is cool. You can see my oil pressure. We can see boost. You can see our AFRs, water temp obviously cold, and then our RPM. So let's go ahead and put the steering. All right, so here is the version 1 setup right now. I do have the CD7 just temporarily mounted. However, I mean, it is dead solid in there. That, I mean, even if I rolled the car, that's not going anywhere. I did decide to keep my first air, fuel, and boost gauge. It's, you know, out of the way for clutch kicking, but it is on its own independent air, fuel, or O2 sensor. So I just want to be able to kind of have redundancy between this and the CD7. I know a lot of people would say, well, why would you keep that? But say something happens to this O2 sensor, I know I already and always have an analog signal coming in, and it gives me something to kind of reference between the two. Or if I decided to monitor some different parameters on here, or lap times solely, I always have my boost, air, fuel there. So I decided to keep the gauge, at least for now. I think it's actually kind of mounted in a cool position. It's out of the way. It's not, you know, super in your face, but you know, I can see it very easily from the steering wheel. Obviously, depending on where the wheel is, it's out of the way, and I have some redundancy to the system. So here it is, maybe one of the most perfect drift car interiors. I think I really like you know, the placement of the Hydro E. Love, obviously, the Sparco wheel. This has been a great wheel, great addition to the car. The CD7 dash works great. I'll fire that up here in a minute and just kind of show you guys the whole picture. And then obviously I got my redundant boost and air fuel gauge. So I would call this a success. Let's go ahead and fire the car up and maybe take it for a test run, show you guys what it looks like. All right, we're gonna take this thing for a rip. First rip with the new dash. See, I also have my redundant air fuel gauge down there, which I kind of like. So we'll see how this goes. TAC looks really responsive. AFR's reading nice. Boost is reading. Oil pressure looks good. Oh yes. Alright, so here's our first kind of inaugural rip with the CD7 dash. Just love the way it fits in there. I have like perfect visibility through my steering wheel. Ultimately, very happy with the setup. I like having my old air fuel gauge as well, so I can monitor boost and air fuel independently of the CD7 just in case something happens. Super easy to toggle between screens, and honestly it just feels great to get the IS out for a little rip. So appreciate you guys watching and following along. If you like my content, I appreciate you subscribing and throwing me a like. Until next time, C3 Garage Media.